What's going on YouTube? My name is CymenSniped and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to go through both the new bosses in dangerclose, the regenerated Knight and Bishop, going through their fight mechanics and what you need to do to kill the boss. On top of that, the battle report function was also added this week, so I will mention a little bit about its details later at the end of the video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Just a quick mention that if you'd like to support the channel, do leave a like, comment and sub to help my videos reach more players. More players watching means I can make more content too. I also stream on Monday, Wednesday and Friday weekly, so do drop by if you'd like to join me. Starting off with Regenerated Knight, let me first explain what the boss fight entails. Regenerated Knight is a sniper class unit that spawns adds at intervals to keep you at bay. At approximately 80% and 50% of the boss's HP, she will push all your units back to the ship and grant herself a barrier right after. If you fail to break her barrier by hitting her enough, she will use an empowered AoE attack that does significant damage to the front and mid lines. She also throws a saw blade that slowly moves towards your ship when she activates a special skill. In order to kill the boss, you'll need to overcome a few things. The first challenge is to have front lines that can survive being barraged by adds and the boss's normal attack. Ideally, you want defenders at the front and strikers to support it along the way. The best choices for defenders would be Replacer King and Overflow. King does phenomenal due to him being a defender and also able to do screen-wide damage when something dies, helping with the second and final challenge you need to actually overcome in order to beat the boss. Overflow is also an exceptional choice because his tankiness and ability to dash forward, closing the distance to the boss incredibly fast. The second and final challenge presented you by the boss are the pushback, which happens during two different intervals. The first will happen when she approaches 80% HP and another when she approaches 50%. To do that, we'll need to time your ultimate skills to activate when she casts her skill. The units that are in mid-animation of their ultimates will be able to iframe through the push, allowing you to deal hits to the boss to break her barrier, which bypasses the need for some units to travel back and losing a ton of DPS time. This also buys yourself precious time for the backlines who got pushed back to return to the front. Once you are able to do so, chances are you're set to kill the boss. The only thing you want to consider next is how to make minor tweaks to your team comps, deployment order, skill timing, and overall DPS to min-max your score. Moving on to the next boss, we have the regenerated Bishop. This shady little lass is a little bit more flexible to deal with if we're talking about clearing the boss. You can either speedrun it by killing her before or soon after she casts her ultimate skill, or you can overcome all the shit she throws at you and kill her in a more methodical way, albeit a little bit slower. Let's first begin with what happens throughout her fight. Regenerated Bishop will walk towards your ship as soon as the fight begins. She does cleaving normal attacks and will hit the first unit she encounters. Her special skill is an AoE which will always hit the furthest enemy from her, and her ultimate skill allows her to jump backwards, summon a shadow in your midlines while she walks back towards your ship. She also throws some dagger upon getting into range of the first unit she sees. If it's not a defender or the unit does not have a shield on, it's probably dead. While the shadow is alive, the boss cannot be targeted for a certain duration. In the event that you are not able to remove the shadow before it returns to the boss, her ultimate skill bar will gain a boost, allowing her to do it again incredibly soon. Now that you know what she does, here's how you can actually deal with it. The quicker way to deal with her is to end the fight before she can cast her ultimate skill or soon after she does. To do that, it highly depends on whether or not you have the damage output to do so. The sequence is very specific and obviously the units needed are the same as well. Assuming you did not turn any modifiers that would directly make the boss beefier or reduce your own damage, the main DPS contributor will always be Castro Cell Lin. There's a low-key secondary DPS like Old Deadbeat Rifleman with anti-striker gear on, but you can definitely do it without it. The most gear-intensive way is to have Kim Hana operator that can boost your skill haste and regain a DP upon activation. Use New Detroit for the second skill defense break, Jushyun to counter Bishop's first special and ultimate skill by time glitching, using Soyun for a quick burst of attack and fishing for crits while praying for RNG that she dies. There is another option where you can use New Ohio instead, You can remove Ju Shiyun from the team and use Legion as a substitute. Having Operator Kim Hana is still the best as it makes your timing much more forgiving, else you'll have to adjust your deployment sequence based on the DP used to compensate the order to be able to initiate your burst right before Bishop casts her ultimate. With a little bit of tweaking, you should be able to kill the boss within 2 minutes to spare or slightly less than that. I'll leave the full run at the end of the video, so if you are still unsure how to do it, you can drop by on the Simon's Cottage Discord channel, which I will leave the link in the description below if you'd like to join, and ask some of the C vets to pilot you if they are willing. With this strategy, we're going to, in a way, counter what the boss does that can kill us and take our time to deplete her HP to 0. This strategy is a little bit more forgiving in terms of gears, but it is never going to be able to compete in terms of high score in the end when compared with the speedrun, so pick your poison. To perform this strategy, I will need to first explain what are the countermeasures it has in place. The first threat of the boss is its special skill, which targets the furthest enemy and deals significant AoE damage. But there is actually a hidden detail here that isn't revealed. Her special skill does 0 damage to mech units, and that's why we will use Sigma, which not only buffs the team, gives us extra DP, summons a defender, but also tank the boss's special skill without taking a single scratch. The second threat is its ultimate skill, which summons a shadow in the mid lines and is invulnerable for a period of time. The solution to making quick work of this is by removing the immortality buff that she has and instantly killing her. You have a few options to do this. You can either use Yensing Lanchester or Machine Collector or Kami Izumi's skill 1 to instantly delete her from the field. Assuming you need to kill the shadow more than once, I would recommend Machine Collector or Yensing Lanchester. As for the remaining slots of your team, you can put in whichever support or DPS you think works best to complement Xiaolins for this fight. A few recommendations would be like Dash, Roy, Licorice, Old Admin Rifleman, and Ingrid. For the deployment sequence, I will leave it at the end of the video as well, so head on over using the timestamp if you'd like to jump right to it. One final thing I'd like to explain is the battle report. The battle report is a newly added function to DC bosses in the game that allows you to apply handicaps to the fight in exchange for a score multiplier which can significantly boost its final outcome if you're looking to be competitive. These modifiers do 2 general things to your run. It either reduces the effectiveness of your team, or it increases the damage the boss can do or the damage the boss can take. Each row of modifier increases the multiplier percentage differently, and the more potent a handicap is, the more percentage boost it gives. So how do you want to approach the modifiers? My advice is that you should always try to do the nightmare run and kill the boss to gauge what corners you can cut. You ask yourself certain questions like, are my ultimates ready when I need them? Can my tank survive with lesser HP? Am I doing more damage than I need? Do I have a surplus in deployment points during crucial moments? Now, based on these, you can then decide what modifiers you want to apply, and you'll be able to do just fine. If the fight reaches a point where even after fishing for crits for hours and you still cannot kill the boss, reduce the modifiers and try again. The battle report is a function meant for competitive scores, so do not beat yourself over it if you see rank 1 having 60+% modifiers while you struggle with 20%. They are rank 1 because they've invested more time, resources, and is very much more efficient at managing their resources as well. And that's it for this video. Now, there's a whole bunch of information, so I hope you don't get over congested. I'd recommend just focusing on one boss first. Once you've gotten the hang of it, try to push for the other boss. Do let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions as well. Coming up are the full runs for the bosses, and until the next video, I'll see you again soon. Bye!
still have the smell of blood. Why I killed them, what is myself, but I am just tell me. Even though